first time in the UK?
No, I was here last year promoting my show. I think it was in April of last year, so this is my second time.
Oh, lovely. Well, welcome back. I hope we've got slightly nicer weather for you now anyway. Fairly legal.
Yes.
As a show, obviously, you know, law shows and legal shows are very popular, but it's taken quite a bit of a twist on the theme, really. As opposed to playing a lawyer, you play a mediator, or lawyer turned mediator. Tell us a little bit about what the difference is, significantly, really, between the two.
Well, okay, I want to talk about two things.
Okay.
I'll tell you the differences between the two, but then the other thing, you know, for me, this show was never really a law show. I never would have wanted to do this show if it was just a law show. And for me, the show centers around Kate Reed's heart, her energy, and, you know, those are things that have nothing to do with law.
This is a customer announcement. Can Barry Tilbury, that's Barry Tilbury, please come to the organiser's office N5. Thank you.
Thanks for that.
Okay, so, but the differences between a lawyer and a mediator, I mean, that's kind of, should we really talk about that? It's so boring. Do you guys really want to know what the differences are between a mediator and a lawyer? Not really. Don't you guys just want to get into like the nitty gritty and the juicy?
It seems significant for your character, because you made a conscious decision.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the thing with her is she once used to be a lawyer, but she was kind of fed up with the injustices of law, and, you know, she worked for a system where the guilty were free, the innocent were accused, and then she just kind of wanted to take matters into her own hands. And, you know, for those of you that do watch the show, you know that she has a very unconventional way of doing things, and she's not afraid to piss people off, and you know, she marches to the beat of her own drum, and for, you know, the females out there, I think it's good to have a really nice, strong female character on TV.
You mentioned obviously you wouldn't be interested in doing the show if it was a straight legal one.
Yeah, that's boring to me. I'm not a big fan of procedural law shows. I've never seen an episode, not that there's anything wrong with these shows, but Law and Order, or any of the CSIs, or SVUs, or, and it just, you know, the thing that captivates me when I watch something is I like to see characters' hearts. I like to be pulled in that way. And again, you know, if this show was just a straight procedural, I never would have signed on to do it, because I don't know how to do that.
Now the character of Kate herself, you mentioned she's very much harsh. She's someone who, you know, she knows the legal system, she's seen the world, and the lawyer with a conscience is, you know, with that big heart. Is that something that was the main draw for you with the show? Was it the character, or was it the story?
The main draw for me was, I'll tell you a funny story. Do we have time for stories?
Absolutely.
When I auditioned for the show, it was 5 weeks after I gave birth to my son, and, you know, nothing fit me. And so I went in wearing a white t-shirt, Nike running shorts, high heels, and an oversized, like, trench coat to audition for the role, essentially, of a lawyer. And nobody told me that if I had to be away from my son, I had to pump. For those of you that are parents, you know that you gotta pump because you got milk in these things. And towards the end of the audition, my boobs actually started lactating through my white t-shirt. And I don't know if that had anything to do with me getting the job, but I can tell you the other actresses did not do that. But what drew me to this character, more or less, it was her flaws. You know, I felt like she was very human. I felt like she was very relatable. I mean, her dad had just died. She works for a boss, which is her stepmother, and she doesn't like her. She's in this very on-again, off-again relationship with her ex-husband. So I just felt like these were human stories. You know, it's like at one point in my life, I've gone through some of these things, you know, and it was her flaws that attracted me to her, and I wanted to be her, because I just felt like it was very human and very relatable. She wasn't a superhero. She was just an everyday girl with a very big voice in a man's world, and I like it. I like the combination of things.
Is that something that you were keen to pursue and get more involved with, the evolution of the character beyond just the performance, but actually, developing her with the writers?
Yeah, absolutely. Can these guys come in and sit down?
Yeah, can.
Yeah, come on in.
Oh, look at you guys.
Yeah, I mean, being the title character of the show comes with a lot of, come on in and sit down. I'm a shameless promoter, as you guys can see. It comes with a lot of responsibilities being like the title character, and you're very busy. There's never a moment's rest, but then at the same time, it's kind of cool because I've been with this character since October of 2009, so a lot of I can color her the way I want to color her. Of course, it's more of a collaborative process more than anything. But, next year I'll be one of the producers on the show as well, so I'll have, more of a voice than I did before. So yeah, I definitely have something to do with her direction.
How's that come about? I mean, you mentioned you were incredibly involved both in terms of performance and the evolution of the character. Taking that step from just being the actor to actively driving and pushing the show from a production capacity. How did you make that transition? What was the process there?
Well, it was one of those things that it kind of naturally happens, because it is a one-man show and I am that one man. So it's a natural thing. It's not, again, it's a huge responsibility to be the number one of something, and you become invested because it is your face everywhere, it is your name everywhere, and you want it to be the best that you can possibly make it. So, to translate that into hours, it's like I have, our shooting days are pretty much 16 hours a day, every day for me. I think this whole season, we shoot for 5.5 months, it's 13 episodes. In 5.5 months, I had, minus the Christmas break, I had half a day off. So when the other actors, they come in 2 or 3 days a week. So there's no rest. My lunches, getting ready in the hair and makeup trailer, they're conference calls, there's script calls, there's note meetings, there's tone meetings, now that the show is done, I'm involved in some of the editing of the show, and you just, I don't know, it's my grandmother's expression, I'll sleep when I'm dead.
How does it work? Obviously, as you were saying, it's very much a show, it's your show, it's set very much around you. But there obviously is a further cast beyond that as well. You've got a fabulous supporting cast going on there. How does that feel? How much time do you get to work with your other actors?
As far as I get a fair amount of work with them. I mean, it's the difference between this season and last season was last season it was very guest star heavy, and I almost had more to do with the guest stars than I did with our main cast. And this year we are bringing the rest of the main cast into the plots, into the A stories in the show. So it's good. It's good that all of Kate's dynamics can still be played out amongst the procedural elements of the show.
I mean, when you're looking at the plot in terms of where it's been, as you say, you've got your guest star episodes, and then other than anything, there's the overarching side of things as well. Is that something that you were keen to take control of as well when you're stepping onto that production, controlling the meta story?
Well, the overall arc for Kate, that's all kind of decided. I mean, it's pitched to me at the beginning of the year, and I have my say in what I like, which direction it goes into, and it's a very collaborative process. And then then the writers get together and they all kind of write the specifics of it all. And wait, what was your question?
How involved are you in the creating and driving it?
But it's not me coming. I mean, I don't have I'm not a writer, so I don't get to come up with these things. But they kind of present it to me. I approve or make adjustments to it, and then the writers get to work on it. And as each script turns out, I go through and I give my notes as well. And from time to time, there has been some story. I have been able to move the story in other directions if I didn't like what direction it was going in. And it's good because there's a lot of, they trust me on the show. I think I've proven my they are willing to take a chance on me and listen.
From an audience and reception standpoint, I mean, you were saying yourself, you do a huge amount of work, not only in producing, but in promoting and pushing and driving the show with the audience and with the fans. I mean, have you noticed, you yourself aren't a fan of your standard legal dramas, do you find that you get a lot of crossover, like the people who are attracted to the show, are those who do have a love for that, or do they prefer the more comedy crowd?
It's a mix, because, you know, my show is a mix between, like, Law and Order meets Sex in the City, you know, so it's not, and the people that come to me, they're big fans of some of my past work, like Life or the L Word, or, you know, they, you know, also like some of the more feminine stuff, and some of the darker stuff as well, so it's really, I mean, it's a mix of a bunch of stuff.
Okay. I didn't even get to ask the question.
I know.
Leaping up.
Very eager.
I've never had a chance to meet anyone who's been on Alias, so I thought I'd jump on the chance. Yeah, basically, my question is, what was it like for you on the show, and particularly working with Bradley Cooper? And additionally, were you approached for the 100th special episode at all to make an appearance?
Wait, what was the last part of your question?
And whether you were approached to make a guest star appearance on the 100th episode special?
Oh, of Alias?
Yeah, in season 5.
Oh, no, I wasn't. You know, my time on Alias, it was great. It was my first, I got there right before I got the L Word, and it was, you know, I had no idea what the show was about when I was auditioning for it, and my dinners were coming from, you know, gas stations across the street from my apartment before I got that show, and when I did that show, it was a dream come true, because, you know, they really liked what I was doing. It was a very, very spontaneous group of people. Improv was allowed, the writing was fantastic, and I was so spoiled to work with J.J. Abrams for my first job, because I thought everybody would be like J.J. Abrams. He's so giving, he's so loving, he really nurtures his actors, he nurtures his set, no idea was bad. And again, it's like I was naive to assume everybody was like him, because God, are they not. And Bradley, it's so funny to me that Bradley's like such a sex symbol right now, because I'm always going to see him as like dorky Will Tippett, you know, and Bradley was wonderful. He was wonderful. He was great. I have nothing bad to say about him. And you know, I was approached to be a regular on Alias, because even though I was only recurring, I was a favorite character among the fans that first season. They really liked Jenny. And I turned it down because I wanted to go off and, you know, do some of my own stuff. And I think I rubbed some people the wrong way on that show when I turned it down, because Alias was such a hot show, and it was like, well, nobody turns down Alias. And I did, and so no, I was not invited back for the for the 100th episode.
That's still great though. You got to say no to JJ's. Hang on. Sorry. I'm busy.
I try not to have any regrets, but that's the one thing that I sometimes think about. But you know what? You gotta just move on.
And jumping into a show like that for your first big role, was that more overwhelming than the subsequently onto something else with a very different production?
No. I mean, again, you know, I feel like sometimes ignorance is bliss. Not knowing who J.J. Abrams was, not knowing Jennifer Garner, that was really kind of her first big thing, but you know, Ron Rifkin and, I just forgot his name, what is it? Vince Carter? No. Victor Garber. I knew it rhymed with Vince Carter. You know, not knowing who they were, it just kind of, I wasn't intimidated. If anything, I just went to work every day, so happy to have a job, so happy to just be working in such a free atmosphere that really supported what I was doing every day.
Okay. Any other questions before I carry on going?
You guys are leaving? Adios.
I have two.
Yeah.
What was it like? So Kate Lee's relationship with her stepmother is quite antagonistic at first, and then it sort of develops. So did you have a good time portraying a female-female relationship? It's quite rare to get interesting sort of relationships like that on TV. And my second question was, if Kate Reid and Danny Reese met each other, what would happen? So didn't think they'd get on very well.
Okay, so, you know, your first question, I love doing the cat fights on set. It's great, and it's not, I don't think it's hard for Virginia and I to go there either. So, what you see is quite real. It's fun, you know, it's juicy, it's drama, it's a little soapy, and how often do you really get to do that kind of stuff in real life? You know, I don't. So it's really fun to play. And if Kate Reed and Danny Reese, I don't know. You know what? I don't think they would be able to hang out. I think Danny is. You know, Kate is she's such a light. You know, she has a lot of inner light, and Danny is still. You know, Danny's light hasn't really come out. You know, and it hasn't really shown yet. So I don't think they would get along very well. But it would be funny to put two of them in a room together. That'd be pretty funny.
Stand back and call out, I guess.
Huh?
Stand back.
Yeah.
Any further questions? Why? Oh, there you go. He's like,
Before we find out that life was cancelled, do you have any idea where the show is going in the future? Because it kind of wrapped up Charlie's story very quickly. So.
Yeah, you know, I got pregnant halfway through the second season of that show. And I don't know, these are what the rumors are, so take it for what you will. It was, because I couldn't work those long hours anymore, they had to find a subplot for me to be a part of, which is why they had the FBI come in, they brought in Gabrielle Union to kind of sub for me and be Charlie Cruz's new partner, and everything was kind of wrapped up very abruptly. You know, from that point on, it was just like it was a downhill thing, and you know, not to say necessarily that my pregnancy was to blame for the end of the show, but you know, those are the rumors. But I have a beautiful boy, so I really don't give a fuck.
If the show did continue, is there any sort of direction you would like to take in Danny's character?
I love, you know, well, this is the one thing that happens when you are part of a procedural, is you do, you know, the procedural, the crime is the main storyline. So the character's personal habits, and this is another reason why I'm not a fan of procedurals, you don't get to know about the personality of the character. You don't get to go into their personal lives. So, you know, if the show would have continued, I would have loved to have seen more of Danny's demons. I would have loved to have seen her out. I would have loved to have seen her challenged. I would have loved to have seen her, you know, try to overcome her demons and then fail. And, you know, maybe Cruz helps her. Maybe Cruz gets involved in some shit and Danny has to pull him out. I don't know, but there were such great characters, and the writing on the show was so good, and there's so many different directions that show could have gone, that it is a shame that it ended when it did, because, you know, so many fans, as well as Damien and I both, felt like these characters had so many more stories that could have been told.
thank you very much. We are running low on time now, but does anyone have any further questions?
Any last questions? Don't be shy.
Hi, since you just mentioned demons and challenges, do you think that since Kate's taking her books, that should she ever sort of, there was a storyline a couple of weeks ago where it was quite a happy ending, first season was always quite a happy ending. And do you think that for pushing the envelope, she should maybe go to prison or something for certain things that she does? You know, everything always seems to have a happy ending. She gets out of it, she knows
Right.
it's the DA and stuff.
Yeah. Well, you know, there is, I don't know if it's aired here or not yet, but there is an episode, I don't think you've seen this one, but there is an episode where she doesn't win. The client that she's working, she doesn't win mediation. The client ends up staying where she is, which is not in a good situation, and she was not able to fix everything. And you know, that's the thing on I don't know what network it plays on here. What network does it play on here? What is it? Universal? Well, that is one of the things about working with such a big corporation like Universal is you're serving a higher power, which they just want blue skies and pink elephants all the time, and they just want Kate Reed to solve, you know, the answers of the day with a flick of her hair, and you know, but yeah, but we did try to do something where in one of the episodes she doesn't win, she fails, and I'd love to do that more actually, you know.
Does that give you more to work with on an acting basis when you get able to show those extra challenges where it's not that happiness?
Yeah, and it's more colors, you know. But you know, and unfortunately, that is the thing in TV is you work for the advertisers more than you are able to work for the art. So you just, you know, somebody in my position, I try to figure out a balance between the two. Did you have a question? I thought you tried to lift your hand up and then it went right back down. No?
We've got a slight tentative hand. We're a little bit nervous about throwing our hands up. Just in the air.
It's what I like to do when I want to smell my armpits, see if it smells. It's like, goes up and quickly comes back.
It's been a hot day at Crowded Hall. I don't think anyone's particularly on it today. Yeah, does anyone have any further questions? We are running close on time now. Okay. Oh, no, I think we're good. So, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Sarah, you'll stay with us for the rest of the day, I believe?
I am here for the rest of the day and then back tomorrow as well.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for joining us. Sarah, Shahi?